Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to Trading the Close. My name Gareth Soloway from verifiedinvesting.com. And what we're going to look at today, folks, is a market that did bounce, although it wasn't a robust bounce. The Nikkei bounced 10%. The S&P and the NASDAQ are up 1.5 to 2%. So not even recovering yesterday's big down move, even though the Nikkei essentially did recover that big down move today. After the bell today, we do have big earnings from SMCI. So that will be very, very important for the overall market. So let's just jump right into the charts here and see what we have going on today. What we can see is that Dow is up 178 points. Now, remember, the Dow was down 1,000 points yesterday. So again, not that big of a bounce. The NASDAQ doing a little bit better, but still not even up 2% on the day, just hovering up about 1.77%. The S&P up about 24 points or 0.5%. Oil down, gold down, and Bitcoin getting a big bounce today. Bitcoin yesterday was at 49,000 at the lows, or right around there, back to about 56,650. If we look at the heat map, generally green over here. Again, that is showing us that most things are green. Notice Apple continues to stall here, down just ever so slightly on the charts. And again, we will see what happens in the after hours here as we get into some of these earnings announcements. All right, so again, interesting little heat map action. All right, so what I want to do now, folks, is take us into the charts as I always do, and we'll take a look at the S&P on an intraday basis. And here is that S&P chart. What we can see again, look at this little sell into the end of the day. Now, why is this happening? Why is the S&P selling into the end of the day? The answer is pretty simple here. What we're seeing is fear, right? So fear again is coming into the woodwork. We're seeing fear basically create a scenario where markets are nervous that tonight we're going to get more negative news out of the Nikkei, and that's going to put a damper on the market. So again, you can see how markets early in the day were doing pretty well, and then ultimately what we've seen is them come back to the downside and hover and pull back. So again, losing some of their gains. I also think this has to do with SMCI earnings after the bell. The reason why I say that is because SMCI, while it's not a huge company, has been one of the leading stocks. In fact, let's go to that chart right now and take a look. So if we take away the after hours and pre-market action, we can see that yesterday it opened lower, it came all the way back up. And if we go to the daily chart, we know that we had this parallel bearish channel. I covered this in the game plan. It broke down. Here's yesterday and here's today. Today we are up about $7, but the big question is here, will SMCI show us that there's good things in store for AI chips? And now the key is this, SMCI is one of the key component suppliers for NVIDIA. So people are going to read into this report in a very strict way and say, okay, what does this mean for NVIDIA earnings coming out at the end of the month? And so that's why part of the reason why it's such a big deal here that they do well. Now, I do have some levels that I'm monitoring here, guys. If we do dump out, there's a big technical support right around 470 to 460. I have a level right in here that I'm eyeing. Now, this would be a massive drop. I mean, we'd be dropping 25% from current levels if we got down there. Let's hope that doesn't happen, or the market tomorrow would be in tatters. But if it does come down, this is a key level I'm watching as a potential bounce. Now, on a resistance point, the level that I'm watching for on a resistance is right in this range, right around 750 here. If it gets up in that range, you might even be able to say, actually, you know what, right here, $715. That's the level we're looking at. So you have these lows, and notice how you have this little flat top. On technical analysis, you have to be able to read that. These were low support here, and then we broke below it, but consolidated and kept on kind of hitting into it before breaking down. And that's something we want to follow right there. All right. So again, just something to keep an eye on as we go into the after hours, and earnings will be out shortly. Taking a look at the NASDAQ real quick here, I just want to check in on this. You can see same sort of rollover on the 10-minute into the end of the day, just as we are getting closer to those earnings on SMCI. I believe they're out at 4:05 p.m. Eastern time. So again, a little bit of a rollover. Markets are 5 seconds away from closing. with the NASDAQ 100 up only 0.95%. Man, that is a weak showing. Now, it doesn't mean, listen, if we get the right things, this market could be up big tomorrow in terms of technology. But again, the key is you got to get good earnings from SMCI. There are a couple other companies that are reporting after the bell. We'll go over them as well, but we are through the heat of earnings season. All right, couple other charts I want to go over here real quick. We got to look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin getting a huge bounce on the day, big bounce on Bitcoin. Like I said at the open there, when I was going over the heat map and the indices, we were trading all the way down near 49,000. Today, we're back to about 57, just under 57,000. That's a big bounce. Where's resistance? I can kind of clean this up for you guys too. And I know there's a lot of trend lines, but basically what we have here, you have very simply this level of resistance. If we zoom out, it's a longer term trend line that was support. Remember, technical analysis states that resistance becomes support, support becomes resistance. So here it was support. It hit, came up, hit here, came up here, and then broke. Therefore, this 60,000 level is now resistance. What's interesting about that is it's also coordinated right here as well. If we take a trend line through these lows here, notice how low, low, low. Here it pierced briefly, then it hit it again, bounced, hit it again, broke through, got back above. But basically that line there is almost coordinated perfectly with that 60,000 level. So upside would be 60,000 in the near term on Bitcoin. Gold today, minimal price action, a little bit of downside. I'm really just focusing on this parallel channel. So if we do continue to fall, 2,320 would be your downside support. If that breaks, 2,190. On the upside, you have resistance at around 2,500. Silver was down a little bit today. I'm looking at silver potentially going all the way down to about $25.45. That would be a huge retrace to the scene of the crime. I think I went over this yesterday, this inverse head and shoulders consolidation pattern. I will be buying heavily. And again, heavily still means smartly in my portfolio, but this would be a big level on silver. Oil today continued to move back lower after a decent bounce yesterday off of its lows, but kind of coming right back down. It is still below support. It makes it vulnerable for a dip to about $68 a barrel. And look at natural gas. You guys know I've been bullish on natural gas. The 786 Fibonacci retrace right here. You can see right into that level and a good bounce today. Go to your hourly chart. Check out this out on the hourly here. Let me just try to get down to that hourly here real quick so I can show you this. This is really, really important, is that if you go to your hourly, you can see what level it's at. So if you zoom in, notice this trend line going back to basically the 22nd of July, that first bounce that we saw, and then look at how every high is right up against it. So as a technician of the charts, you got to get this to pop through this level. If it does, you should get back to about 225 to 230. Just going back to the daily chart, here you can see that line. That's that same line I just showed you, just now on a bigger time frame, zoomed out quite a bit. All right, let's go back to SMCI. We'll check in on other earnings here. Let's flip over to the after hours. And SMCI, as of now, is not out yet. I believe it's 4:05 is when earnings will be reported from SMCI. They're expecting $8.10, or analysts are expecting $8.10 on $5.3 billion in revenue. The key is, it would be helpful for them to beat, but their guidance is going to be unbelievably important, guys. The guidance is key. Airbnb reports after the bell here, but at 4:05, nope, looks like it's already out. Whoa, that's a big drop. Holy cow. All right, so we got a big drop on Airbnb. My thing here says 4:05, but they must have released it early, and we're down at 4:15, already down over 10%. Let's take a look here. By the way, you can see I annotated this out beautifully a while back. We can extend that line out. You can see it broke down below the channel. And again, there it goes. So downside support. All right, looks like 113, which is right where we are. We're just above that is first support. 113. I repeat, 113. It's this pivot low right here. And then if we break lower, you're looking at 104 to 105 as your next technical level. Let's go back to the chart. And you can see right there, got down to about 115 and change. Hasn't touched 113 yet, but that is your key level. Let's look at Reddit, RDDT. That is also reporting earnings. Stock looks like it popped initially here, so a little bit of a pop to the upside, but nothing too crazy as we continue to follow through here. But again, almost no movement now. It's actually coming. Oh, there it goes, starting to head south. Man, oh man, this market, I tell you. Airbnb. I mean, if SMCI does not come through with a pop on earnings, I'll tell you, this market is going to be in a lot of trouble going into tomorrow. You could be in for another big, big, big down day. All right, let's take a look at Rivian, RIVN. That comes out at 415 supposedly. Looks like it's upticking a little bit here. I don't think the numbers are out yet. But again, Rivian is after the bell here, but not till 415 from what I'm seeing. Wynn Resorts, which is the casino operator. Let's take a look at that one. That one is falling just a little bit. All right, it's 4:05 SMCI. Let's see, do we have anything? Nope, not yet. 4:05 p.m. Eastern time. These numbers should be out now, but they apparently haven't hit the tape just yet. When it hits, you will see a reaction. I promise you that. Whether it's up or down, you will see a big reaction in the chart here. All right. So again, interesting to take note of that. By the way, just touching base on NVIDIA, NVIDIA is down ticking a little bit here in the after hours, but not by much. But you can see that NVIDIA, again, had a decent move today, 3.78%. Look at the level it hit, though, the other day, yesterday when it opened lower, right into major technical support. Now, the only thing that matters to me, so NVIDIA could retrace. I mean, you could see back to 96. That would not be shocking. If it takes out this 90 level, though, watch out. That would be unbelievably bearish, as you had a reversal candle right off of the 50% fib and this trend line. And if that happens, you're going to $75 likely on the chart of NVIDIA. But again, that would be somewhat unusual to see a collapse that quickly on such a key AI play. AI, again, guys, it's still hot. Just because it's, some of these stocks are coming in from their bubble levels doesn't mean it's not going to change the world. You guys know I was bearish, and I have been bearish on these names. But even being bearish on stocks, when they pull back to key levels, they still should bounce based on probability. Let's go back to SMCI real quick here, guys. Looks like, man, SMCI still not. I'm not seeing anything yet on SMCI, so it doesn't appear to be out just yet. I will keep my eyes on it here. I'll wait one more minute with you guys. If not, you'll have to kind of guide yourself on those levels. I did give you levels earlier in this broadcast in case it dumps or pops big of key technical potential trading levels, but still not much action there. Let's just jump back quickly to Airbnb and see what we got there. Oh, yeah. So Airbnb, look at this. What was the level I gave you? The first level was 113. That was right here. So you already got a pierce of it and a bounce. Now it's coming back in. But this is that first level of technical support at 113, guys. And you can see it before your eyes starting to work that magic. If it continues down, 105 to 104 would be your next big level. But there's actually a lot of support here around 113 on the daily chart. And again, just to go back and show that to you, if we zoom out here, that's this pivot right here, 113. The lowest point right here is 113 to 112, right in that vicinity. And that's where we currently are. All right. And again, it's right down into that range as we speak. Jumping back to SMCI, because I really want to see these numbers here. But again, nothing that I'm seeing there. Let's look at Reddit again and just see what Reddit's doing. Yeah, Reddit, a whole lot of nothing. So really almost no price movement, which is you can see it did pop initially up to 62 and then down to 52 and change. But as of now, it's hovering, which means earnings, basically what that tells us is that the price of investors were giving it going into earnings was dead on, meaning it was exactly where earnings came out to where the price of the stock was. All right, guys. I mean, SMCI as of now, I'm not seeing it. So as of now, I'm not seeing any earnings out. Yeah, I'm not going to keep you guys on here for too long here, as again, these are supposed to be market summaries. So suffice it to say, if we go back here, the market overall, it was a weak bounce today. I would classify it as a weak bounce. Yes, a bounce. Can it get its mojo if SMCI comes out and blasts higher? Yes, then I think you see the semis really rip. The narrative for AI starts coming back. If SMCI crashes here, even down 5 to 10%, then I think you see more selling, especially in the NASDAQ tomorrow, and things can get ugly very, very, very quickly. I'm still watching out of the corner of my eye over here, and I still don't see it out yet. So again, I had 405, but obviously it's not out yet. And the reason I know that is just because the price action is not there. You're just not seeing any sort of movement. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to bid you farewell. Let's see what that SMCI does, and I will take you in tomorrow in the game plan and go over all the details. Have a good one. Take care.